Hello, Year 8, and welcome to our second screencast on the Tomorrow When the War Began text response essay. This screencast is focusing on body paragraphs. You should have in front of you, whilst you're watching this screencast, the slides for this screencast can be found on the Google Classroom, and they should also be on your email, but you can find them through the Google Classroom, and I'll flick through them on this screencast so you can see them at the same time. But if you want to come back to it without watching the video, you can go onto the Google Classroom and access the slides there, and it'll be called body paragraphs. So in front of you, you should have your planning booklet. It looks like this on the front cover, and you should be up to page 5, working on your body paragraph number 1. If you've already done this at home, which was the expectation or is the expectation for Monday evening, then you might be now on Tuesday up to your second body paragraph. Either way, you can use this clip to help you do that. Now, this is a general clip that should help you address body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and body paragraph 3, which you will need to write between Tuesday's lesson and the end of Wednesday. So you need to get busy today, and you need to be really focused in class and using your time well to write this. I'm going to collect these up on Wednesday after class, that's period 6 on Wednesday, and give you some feedback so you can start typing them on Friday. So let's get straight into it. We are looking at the body paragraph and how to structure that, what's included, and what you need to make sure you have to write it. The example that I'm going to work through right now is a survival and sacrifice example, but at the bottom you will see 2 examples which have some prompts. They're not complete, but some prompts to get you thinking for the coming of age question 1 and for the society and values. So the body paragraph has 4 main parts. The first is the topic sentence, and this is the main reason or one argument that you are making to support your broader contention. Now, you mentioned your contention in your introduction. Now you need to support your contention with 3 different arguments, which you have already done. So if you go back to this document and you look here, you should have listed your 3 ideas in here, and these 3 ideas are your topic sentences. So you put your first one in this spot here, you put your second one in this spot here, and you put your third one in this spot here. So now you've got your topic sentence, which you've taken from here and put in here, and then you are up to your explanation. So an example of a topic sentence in this case is Marsden uses the character of Ellie to force readers to question the ethics and politics of war. So this whole paragraph will be about proving how the character of Ellie makes the readers, through her actions and her own reflections, so when she's narrating and talking in her head to herself, where she questions about what is right and wrong in war and what is acceptable in war. So we need to expand on that. That next sentence is called the explanation. So that is this part here. We need to expand on what we've just said in our topic sentence, which was the purple. That's our topic sentence here, and then we're moving on to our explanation. So through Ellie's retrospective first person narration, which means she's looking back on the story and telling it, because we know that she's writing this after everything has happened because she said so in the opening pages of the book. So through Ellie's retrospective first person narration, readers come to understand the impact that war has upon her as a character. So we've further explained our original topic sentence. Then we need some evidence to support that. So in this case, we've got here, you guys did well, don't feel so bad, this is war now and normal rules don't apply. Now I would encourage you to embed this rather than put this quote in all by itself. So pick the best part of the quote, and I would say that part is the best part of the quote, and then I would say that you need to say through Ellie's eyes. You might say Homer suggests to or reassures Ellie that this is war now and normal rules don't apply, in which case you don't need that first bit, and we've embedded that quote within our sentence right there. So then we need to carry on. We need to explain this a little bit more and unpack it a little bit more to show our skills as a critical reader. So the next part is we've got, although Ellie led the others out of trouble in the yard of Mrs. Alexander, she struggles to comprehend her actions and understand the changing situation she is faced with. So, even though Homer has told her that what she has done is okay, Ellie's still struggling with it because she can't comprehend, which means kind of understand her actions and the changing situation she is faced with. So now we need some evidence that shows that Ellie is struggling to deal with war. And so I realized the most sickening thing. I had just killed 3 people. So you might say, understand the changing situation she is faced with. Ellie sadly realizes that she has, because we need to say in present tense, just killed 3 people. This saddens her greatly and makes her question her own morals and actions. So this is where we're explaining, we're embedding it within our paragraph. We're not just plonking it in by itself. Let's get rid of that S. All right. Ellie sadly realizes that she has just killed 3 people. This saddens her greatly and makes her question her own morals and actions. And then we've got another explanation. I've added a quote in at the end here because I thought we could punch it up a little bit more and add some more evidence. So we've got the conflict between Ellie and the soldiers highlights her bravery. However, Marsden suggests that for Ellie, the decision is not taken lightly, nor does she see it as the right thing to do. So not only does this decision sadden her, like we've set up here, and make her question her actions, she doesn't see it as the right thing to do. So we're further clarifying that point. It's a big thing for me to get my mind around. And you would need to finish that off. So we might just pop in here, finish this off. And then we have our linking sentence, which means we're coming back and reminding our reader of what this whole paragraph which is about. So we look back and we see the topic sentence is Marsden uses the character of Ellie to force readers to question the ethics and politics of war. So to wrap that up, we say Marsden highlights to audiences that even in war, the decision to take a life must be considered and that the characters will undoubtedly be seriously affected by their choices. So that means that we've shown in this paragraph that to take somebody's life like she has, she's just killed 3 people, is a serious decision and it has effects. This has an effect on her as an individual, and we must appreciate that. And Marsden's showing that you can't take somebody's life and not feel anything about it. Otherwise, you're not really a normal person. A normal person would experience some kind of emotional reaction to taking a life. So that's a topic sentence, and you've led on through. That's a full body paragraph there, each step. Now, if you are looking for topic sentences, you're still struggling, you need to go to one of these documents. But I've got a coming of age example here, which I'll quickly go over, and then we've got a society and values one. Ellie's own suffering is magnified by the distress of her friends who have also lost their homes and families. So this one is about coming of age, and it's about suffering and the effect it has. So we need to explain that further. Marsden illustrates how Ellie, through this pain, becomes a more mature person who needs to step up and take charge to help her friends overcome the distressing situations they find themselves in. So whilst Ellie's suffering is made worse by her friend's sadness, for example, Corrie, she steps up and takes on this challenge. So it says, find an example, you need some evidence where Ellie experiences pain because of her friend's experiences. And you might talk about Corrie's house being blown up. You could talk about Lee being shot. You could, either of those two will work. What effect does this have on her? You need to explain what impact this event has on her. How does it cause her distress or sadness? Then you need to find a second example, so you could use the other one. So if you first talked about Corrie, you could talk about Lee. If you talked about Lee first, then you could talk about Corrie. And you could say where Ellie experiences pain because of her friends having a bad experience themselves. Then at the end of that sentence, or end of that paragraph, sorry, you need to sum it up and say how those two examples, Corrie's house being blown up and Lee being shot, prove that Ellie becomes a more mature person and steps up to take charge. Because when Lee's shot and she's trying to save him, she has to make some very critical decisions about what to do in order to get him out alive. When Corrie's house is blown up, Corrie is very sad. She doesn't want to leave, but Ellie tries to reassure her and they don't leave without her. They make sure she's okay before they move on. So that shows that she shows great maturity and she's grown up. So that's coming of age. Our last example is society and values. Marston's novel suggests that the invading army is not entirely evil, nor is it completely innocent. Instead, the unknown soldiers, like the teenagers, have complex reasons for their actions, and there is no clear-cut definition of right and wrong when it comes to war. Now, this is focusing on the invading army and their morals and ethics, as opposed to the teenagers, because you might like to talk about the teenagers in two other paragraphs, but I thought it would be interesting to explore the right and wrong of the invading army. So some evidence I've suggested here, and you can use this or you can choose your own. Both sides can be right and both sides can be wrong. Now this is Robin and she's speaking on page 171. And you need to talk about what is Robin saying about the soldiers and their reasons for invading. Why do they invade and does she think it's right or wrong? And if it's neither right or wrong, then what is it? Is it good or evil? What is she saying about it? And is it easy to tell right and wrong apart, or is there some grey area, some blurriness, because the invading army are doing this because they think it's the right thing for their country. They need to save their people, so that's why they've invaded Australia, because they need the land and the resources that we have to support their country. So that was a long-winded explanation, but you basically need to explain why both sides can be right and wrong and why Robin says that, focusing specifically on the army. All right, then we've got another piece of evidence, probably just a conscript fighting in a war they probably didn't want to fight. So this is, I think it's Ali on page 131, and she's suggesting that the soldiers are not all official soldiers and some of them are conscripts. So a conscript is, let's have a look at the dictionary definition to make sure we get it exactly right, is in somebody who's enlisted, which means brought in to fight, compulsory, so that means they have to do it, they don't get to choose, typically in the armed service. So someone who's brought in to fight for an army without choice, they have to do it. Right, so these individuals have no choice. So is it fair to say that what they're doing is wrong, or are they just doing what they have to do because they are serving their country in the army and that's what their army has decided to do? So that's an interesting question to consider, and that's how you'd explain it. You would say what a conscript means, what that word is, and what that kind of person is, and therefore should readers see the conscripts differently to the soldiers, and because of that, is their invasion wrong? Are the conscripts in the wrong? Because really all they're doing is what they're supposed to do. And maybe they think they're doing the right thing for their country. All right, and then you need to sum up how these two examples prove that the army isn't entirely evil and that sometimes it can be difficult to separate what is right and what is wrong in war. Okay, now that's 3 different paragraphs we've looked at, one for sacrifice and survival here, we've got one for coming of age here, and we've got one for society and values here. If you have any questions, pop your hand up and the teacher who's covering me today will be around to see you. If you are still having trouble, send me an email and I'll catch up with you after class because I'm just teaching the Year 12s today. Otherwise, you can come and find me. I will be at school, so you can come and see me at lunchtime, okay? Good luck. Have a go. And make sure you use your time well. You need to try and get 1 to 2 paragraphs done in class today so that you'll be right on track for tomorrow and we can make the best use of our time tomorrow. All right, I'll see you then. Have a good day.